These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan. Deuteronomy 1:1. The scene is the plains of Moab. 40 years after the Exodus, the wilderness generation has died. A new generation stands ready, and Moses, now old, speaks one last time before his death. He cannot cross the Jordan, but his words will cross with them. Deuteronomy is his farewell, a covenant renewal, a call to remember. Moses begins by recounting their journey. He reminds them how God carried them like a father carries his child. He recalls the rebellion at Kadesh when fear of giants turned the people back, condemning that generation to die in the desert. He tells of the victories over Sihon, king of the Amorites, and Og, king of Bashan, the division of land east of the Jordan, and the appointment of Joshua as his successor. It is history retold not just as memory, but as warning. Do not repeat the unbelief of your parents. Then Moses turns to the law. He repeats the 10 Commandments, anchoring the covenant. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. Deuteronomy 5:6-20. These commands are not burdens but life itself, a blueprint for flourishing under God. The heartbeat of Deuteronomy pulses in the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. Deuteronomy 6:4-5. Moses tells parents to teach this to their children when they sit at home, when they walk on the road, when they lie down, and when they rise. The commands should be bound on their hands and written on their door frames. He warns them not to forget when they eat from vineyards they did not plant and drink from wells they did not dig. Take care lest you forget the Lord, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Deuteronomy 6:12. Moses tells them their future depends on obedience. If they follow God, they will live long in the land, enjoy blessing, and defeat their enemies. If they rebel, curses will overwhelm them. Man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Deuteronomy 8:3. He warns against pride, telling them that it is God, not their power, who gives wealth. He reminds them of the golden calf, of God's wrath, and of the mercy that followed when Moses interceded. He speaks of a prophet still to come. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you. It is to him you shall listen. Deuteronomy 18:15. He speaks of kings who must not multiply horses, wives, or silver, but must write for themselves a copy of the law and read it all their days. He speaks of priests who live from the offerings and of judges who must not take bribes. The entire community is called to justice, to holiness, to loyalty to the one God. Festivals are laid out again. The Passover to remember their deliverance, the Feast of Weeks at harvest, the Feast of Booths when they live in tents to recall wilderness wandering. These are not empty rituals but rhythms of remembering. He sets aside cities of refuge, safe havens for those who kill unintentionally. So that blood revenge does not consume the land, he commands generosity. Leave gleanings for the poor, cancel debts in the 7th year, welcome the sojourner. He commands to write the law on plastered stones when they cross the Jordan. At the heart of Deuteronomy stand the blessings and curses. Moses instructs that half the tribes will stand on Mount Gerizim and half on Mount Ebal. Blessings will be spoken for obedience, curses for disobedience. The language is sweeping. Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the field. The Lord will open to you his good treasury, the heavens, to give rain to your land in its season. Deuteronomy 28:3-12. But the curses are terrifying. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. Deuteronomy 28:19. Siege, famine, exile. If they forsake the Lord, devastation will follow. Moses sets before them a choice, life and death. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life, that you and your offspring may live. Deuteronomy 30:19. Yet even here, mercy shines through Moses' promises that after exile, if they return, God will gather them again. The Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your offspring, so that you will love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. Deuteronomy 36. God not only commands love, but promises to make it possible as the speeches near their end. Moses writes down the law, gives it to the Levites, and teaches Israel a song of witness, recounting God's faithfulness and Israel's unfaithfulness. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are justice. Deuteronomy 32:4. The song warns of idolatry and exile, but ends with hope that the Lord will vindicate his people. Then Moses blesses each tribe, speaking words of destiny and hope. At last, Moses climbs Mount Nebo. From there, he sees the whole land, Gilead to Dan, Naphtali, Ephraim, Judah, the Negeb, and the valley of Jericho. The Lord says, "This is the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to your offspring. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there." Deuteronomy 34:4. Then, quietly, Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. Deuteronomy 34:5. God buries him, and no one knows his grave. Israel weeps 30 days. Joshua, filled with the spirit of wisdom, takes up leadership. The greatest prophet Israel had known has finished his course, but the story of God's promise is only beginning. Deuteronomy points straight to Jesus. When tempted in the wilderness, he quoted Deuteronomy 3 times. He is the word we live by, the one who worships the Father perfectly, the one who refuses to test God. He is the greater prophet Moses spoke of, the mediator of a new covenant. Just as Moses could only look into the land, Jesus leads us all the way, and he fulfills the law, takes the curse upon himself, and offers life to all who believe. The blessings and curses fall on him so that blessing may fall on us. Deuteronomy is Moses speaking across the centuries. It reminds us to remember to love God with all our heart, to choose life. You may feel you are in a wilderness, but God calls you to trust him, to obey his word, to write his truth not on stones, but on your heart. When you are tempted, cling to his word as Jesus did. When you are weary, remember he carries you. This word is near you, in your mouth and in your heart. You can turn back even now. God can circumcise your heart, give you love where there was rebellion, and set you on the path of life. Today, you can rise again. That is Deuteronomy. Moses' farewell, God's covenant renewed, the choice of life and death set before us. If this opened the book for you, join me for the next step. Subscribe, and come back as we move into Joshua, when the people finally cross the Jordan into promise.